Hey, what's going on, guys? It's DK. Back at you with another video here to break down the 3-game CSGO main set on Friday. Before I get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, my name's DK. I make daily videos breaking down NBA, NFL, PGA, and Esports, daily fantasy sports slates, Esports including Call of Duty, League of Legends, and this one Counter-Strike CSGO. If you guys are interested in Call of Duty, we have a tournament this weekend, starting tomorrow. I do have a video up for that, as well as I tweeted out a spreadsheet with a bunch of stats. So if you guys are interested in that, again, the video on my YouTube channel, the stats I tweeted out is on my Twitter. It's just DK__DFS. It's in the description below. But yeah, I want to thank you guys again for all support. We are at 3.34 thousand subscribers on YouTube. Again, if you enjoy this content, a like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Those things help me out to continue to grow this channel. For listening to this on Apple Podcasts with a 5-star review, would really appreciate that. But yeah, with that all out of the way, let's jump into the video. So really excited to break this slate down. We have Esports all weekend, Call of Duty, CSGO. We have golf too. We have a nice sized tournament here too, 15K to first for the CSGO slate. So yeah, it's a really good 3-game slate. All 3 games, in my opinion, should stay close. So this one should be entertaining. Before we get into the players though, what we can do is we can look back my lineup here from Thursday slate. So Thursday, this is my main slate lineup. Obviously, it kind of got sunk there with Electronic, but sunk also 95% of people. It was 95% owned in this contest. This was I entered a couple $1 double ups. This is the only one I cashed in for the main. So main, again, when you have a guy that has 12 fantasy points, no matter how high owned he is, I mean, in tournaments, you're done right away, right? In cash games, again, if he's 95% owned, like he was here, I sneaked into the cash. But once again, it was a late slate that really pushed me over the top here. Almost had another takedown. Won a small GPP last night, won $350. This one, so close, missed out by 2 points here. Still took him $220, so I'm not complaining at all. Let's go over my lineup here. So this slate, again, it was only 2 games. It was the Furia versus Team Liquid game, and then you had Vitality versus FaZe. So my strategy was, I wanted to get the 2 stars in the first game, right? Nico and ZywOo. Those 2 do really carry the roster. ZywOo had a really surprising off game. His first bad game in a long time. But he was also, everyone played him but one person in this tournament. I knew he was going to be absolute chalk. It's just, it is priced like 9K. It was too scary for me to fade even on this slate. So I wanted to play those 2 together, and I wanted to go the 3-man Furia stack. Because again, I've talked about a lot, but I think they are the best team in Counter-Strike. So I went Caserado, Henny, Yuri. All 3 were pretty solid. They beat Liquid 2-1. The only way I was able to get that, I messed around with roster construction a lot, was I would have to take a shot at a cheap guy, and I got a little bit lucky, right? BMS finally came through for me. I made a tweet. If you guys don't follow me on Twitter, I've tweeted a few times. He's like when I don't play him, he goes off. When I play him, he's absolutely terrible. But yeah, he came through for me. I was the only one that played him in this contest. So that really helped. The guy in first place, I believe, faded ZywOo. Yeah, he was the one guy that faded ZywOo, and I still almost beat him. Lost out by 2 points. Salado's going to catch him there at the end. He's had Caserado on the captain. And he only had those 3 in the flex spots. But yeah, it was really, really close there. But it still can't complain there with $220 once they pay that out. It's been a really good few days for me for CSGO. So hopefully you guys all have been doing good as well. I know some of you tweeted me you want the complexity stack. That was really good, right? They ended up winning 2-1. The third game that they kind of dominated. So if you want Blame F, who I was pretty high on in GPPs. Now, he didn't fit my build, so I didn't go there. But he had another pretty good day. All right, enough of that. Let's, well, I guess we can look at the stats since we have a couple of these teams on for this slate today. So at Navi, right, they lost 2-1. Simple was the one guy that really stood out, obviously. He had the big first map. I think he had like 26 first map. Yeah, 26-6. But it was a surprising, terrible performance from Electronic, who has been on fire recently besides this game. So what's that going to do to his ownership in this slate? He's going to be virtually unowned. I think he makes for good GPP play for that reason. One bad series doesn't worry me too much for his level of play recently. So I wouldn't mind going back to the well with Electronic. And he burned so many people that no one's going to want to play him again, but we'll get to that more in a bit. Again, the three guys in the middle, Flamey, Perfecto, and Boomage, are guys I rarely get to unless you think Navi win 2-0. That's the only time I will target those guys, if I think Navi is going to win 2-0. And then we had Vitality versus FaZe. Again, we have Vitality in the slate, so let's go over their numbers really quick. This game in general, I know FaZe won 2-0, but this is kind of low-scoring game. Right? No one really had a huge game. Nika went plus 10, but no one went like terribly negative either for Vitality. It was just a very balanced attack from everyone, which is, again, rare to see because ZywOo always, or I won't say always, but more times than not really does carry the roster. He went 34 and 38. That is definitely an outlier for ZywOo, right? But it can happen, right? People are tweeting me like, oh, ZywOo is the one let down in my lineup. You know, if you get 2-0'd, it's pretty hard to have a decent game, right? So it can happen to anyone, right? We saw Simple. He's got a floor of about high 40s, low 50s. ZywOo, I think he put up like 40 fantasy points today. So that can happen. If you get 2-0'd, there's a good chance that you're not going to get more than 40, 50 fantasy points. Unless it's like you play really well and it's like both games are close. Say you lose 16-14, 16-14, and you like really carry the roster. But that's, again, that's more contrarian. Not going to happen a lot, right? So that's the look back there. All right, let's dig into the slate. We only, unfortunately, have odds out for one game. It's the last game, MIBR versus EG. This one's a coin flip right now. EG are the smallest favorites at minus 125. The other two games, we do not have odds out yet. Navi and G2, I think these are two top teams right now in Counter-Strike, but two very inconsistent teams. Teams hard to trust. Navi is so up and down. G2 just cannot close out games. They choke. It seems like they get to 15 and then just cannot close it out. So two teams that I do like targeting but are so inconsistent. Let's take a look at the prices here. If you look at, let's see what the fans are voting for. So they're voting for G2 slightly, right? They think G2 58% to Navi 41%. I think this one will be almost a coin flip too, really, with the odds. I think it's that close. But yeah, let's talk about the Navi side first. We have Simple at 9.6, Electronic at 7.6. Okay, so now you're getting a little bit of separation, right? The previous slate, you had Simple at 9.2, I think it was, and Electronic at 8K. So that's where I definitely advocate for Simple, right? I said, if you're going to choose one Navi guy, it's definitely going to be Simple. But now you're getting a $2,000 difference. Now, it's close now. You really do have to think of it if you're just going to play one Navi guy. I still think you slightly go Simple just because the upside is enormous with him. But I like Electronic for GPPs because he let everyone down. And before that, again, he was in amazing form. 44 and 39, 43 and 21, 59 and 47, 88 and 71. Playing really good Counter-Strike. He's got good overall numbers too if you want to check those the last 3 months. 0.73 and 0.65. That's pretty good for a guy at his price range, right? So I think he stands out as a good GPP play. The other guys, Perfecto, Boomage, and Flamey, the only way I would get to these guys is if I think Navi win 2-0. Now, is that possible? Sure. Again, both teams are so inconsistent. Anything can really happen. So if that's the way you want to go, right? If you think Navi win 2-0, then you could look to Perfecto, Boomage, or Flamey. They're really not great plays, but if they get that plus 20 bonus, right, the 2-0 bonus, the plus 15 for rounds not played, and the 5 for the sweep, then they can pay off their salary, right? Because you're looking for, at their prices, you're looking for about high 40s, low 50s in fantasy points. Yeah, I mean, you can scroll through their numbers. They're all not great, right? Flamey, 0.57 and 0.66 as far as kills per round. Deaths per round, Boomage, 0.6 and 0.7. Perfecto, 0.56 and 0.65. So nothing great there. If you're gonna make me choose, I guess it would just be the cheapest of the options with Flamey. But yeah, let's now move on to G2. So the previous slate G2 was on. They just keep changing up the pricing with these guys. You had Hunter, I think it was 8,800. I think Kenny S was 7,800, and Nexa was 7K. So I mentioned, Nexa is definitely the cash game play. So these three guys really do carry the roster. Now you got Nexa up at 8.2, Hunter at 7.8, and Kenny S at 7.2. So it always seems like Hunter is the most popular of the three. And right now, if you look at the prices, he's going to be the most popular for sure once again in G2. I still think he is my favorite player of these three. He's the most aggressive. I think he does have the most upside. But he also is going to be the highest owned. And he won't necessarily have the highest score every time in the G2 side, right? We've seen Nexa big games. We've seen Kenny S take over games. So if you scroll through their numbers, right, I think Hunter still is the best overall at 0.75 and 0.67. Nexa 0.68 and 0.64, so that's slightly going up with the kills per round, and then Kenny S at 0.7 and 0.62. So really, Nexa, it doesn't make sense to get to him unless you're trying to be different, right? Unless you're trying to be different in GPPs, which I understand that. I think G2 will garner some ownership, and Hunter, again, he's going to get a lot of the ownership. Like, if people are going to play G2, the first guy in is most likely going to be Hunter. So I could see getting to Nexa. Sure, you're going to overpay a little bit for him, but that's a way to differentiate yourself. Or Kenny S, right? So I think for cash games, how I'd rank these guys would be Hunter 1, Kenny S 2, Nexa 3. For GPPs, and you can make an argument for anyone, Hunter's going to be the highest owned by far. So if you want to spend down a little bit on Kenny S or spend a little bit more for Nexa, maybe that makes sense, right? Now, Jax actually had a pretty decent game the last game for G2. I think, is it up here? Maybe it's not up there, but he had a decent game, 6.4K. It's just, when he's that close to like those top guys, it doesn't make sense. Like, when I consider Jax is when he's about $1,500 difference or so, maybe $2,000 difference from those top three guys. When he's, $800 difference from Kenny S, it makes no sense for me personally to get to Jax when you can just get a little bit more for Kenny S or an extra, $1,400 for Hunter, right? So don't really think I would get to him. It's more just a dart throw in GPPs. Amanak at 5.8K. He's kind of in that range of those other Navi guys I've talked about. Really don't have a lot of confidence there unless you think G2 win 2-0, which, again, if that's the way you think this game goes, then you can target Amanak. But the only way I really think he gets you value, I would say 90% of the time, is if you get that 2-0 bonus. All right, let's talk about Vitality and NIP here. So this is a game where I'm curious to see what ZywOo's ownership is going to be. Again, he, like Electronic, let a lot of people down. He was very popular. ZywOo and Electronic were I think they're the two most popular plays, or they're up there. Simple is up there too, obviously. But yeah, ZywOo had a bad game. His first bad game in a long time. Also, his price jumped, right? He was, 9K, 9.2K? Now he's 10.4. So if you compare him to a guy like Simple, Simple's for sure going to eat up way more ownership at about $1,000 difference, right? So I'm curious to see what ZywOo's ownership is going to be. I think it's going to be pretty low, to be honest. And if you can get a low-owned ZywOo, you got to take advantage of that for GPPs, right? I don't think he's a cash game play at his price. I don't, unless you're going to take a shot on like a couple cheap guys, right? If you're going to go Simple and ZywOo, which I think is a viable build, but then you're going to have to play at least one of those cheaper guys. And again, you're never going to really feel great about those guys. So I think ZywOo makes for a really good GPP play. Again, besides that most recent game, he's been on fire. 0.83 kills per round, 0.61 deaths per round. Now, everyone else in the team, you guys have been watching my videos for a while. I do not like these guys. They're so hard to predict. It's kind of what, if you want to play someone else in Vitality, it's really kind of go with your gut and go with what fits with their lineup, right? So, I think Shox has the best overall numbers out of everyone else here. I think he is the most expensive, though. Yeah, he's 6.8K. RPK's been in decent form, too, at 6.2. Masuda, the one time I played him, he was absolutely terrible, so that's why I really do not like these guys. I don't really have a strong take with these other four guys. It's really, if you want to play someone else, which I think is viable, right? If Vitality win 2-0, someone else is going to have a really good game here on Vitality. It's just trying to guess which one it is. It's a little bit tough. So, if it was gun to my head, you're going to make me choose. I'm going to go with Shox, who has Flash. I think the next most upside in this team, but I don't have that's not like a confident take, right? But now let's look at the NIP side. So in this game, we don't have odds out for it. I think it's going to be close. People are slightly leaning towards Vitality, which if I had to guess, I would say Vitality maybe like minus 120, 130 favorites. Again, I think this one's almost going to be a pick'em. Recent, games history, Vitality 12-8, close, right? You had Vitality. They have played recently. Sorry about that. But yeah, they've been, again, they've went back and forth in the series between them. So I think they're two pretty evenly matched teams. But they're a little bit different, right? So again, we have ZywOo that really carries the roster, whereas NIP, a little bit more of a balanced attack. But let's talk about the last slate in these prices, right? So you had Plopsy at like 8.6K. You had Knock at like 7K. I think you had Rez slightly below him, like 6.8. And I want to say Twist was at 6K. Now they flip-flopped again. Plopsky, after having a subpar game the last game, drops all the way down to 7K. So that really stands out to me. Plopsky and Knock, If you're going to make me pick, it's going to be Plopsky, though. I think he is the best player on this team. I think he's the guy that does have the most upside when he's playing well. His numbers: 0.71 kills per round, 0.65 deaths per round, knock 0.73 and 0.63. So, knock does have slightly better numbers. I guess it's close, right? It is almost a coin flip. I think I would slightly prefer Plopsky, but I think you can play both here. They're really cheap prices for being the top two guys in their team, right? 7K and 7.4K. So if NIP win this one, like you're gonna want some exposure to NIP for sure. Look at the pricing of these guys. Rez, who has had good games, 6.8K. Twist has looked good with the op, 6.6. Hampus, that's a pretty cheap price point, 5K. Obviously doesn't have as much upside as those other guys, but I really think you can make an argument for any of these guys. And if NIP win this one, again, you're gonna want exposure to at least one of these guys, probably two. Like if they win 2-0, you could see a 3-man NIP stack, in the winning tournament lineup because of how cheap these guys' prices are. So yeah, the prices look really good in these guys. Again, Plopsy and Knock, it's almost a coin flip. I'm gonna slightly give the edge to Plopsy, but I do like both a lot. I think Rez is still viable, but he's always the contrarian option of the three. And then Twist is getting up there too, but in recent form, he's looked good with the op. You can scroll through their numbers too. I'll go through them really quick. Twist, about a 1.0 KD. Rez, about the same. And then again, Knock, 0.73 and 0.63. Plopsy, 0.71, 0.65. Hampus, the new addition, but a little bit up and down. He's slightly negative, but he's at a pretty cheap price point, right? And he's had some decent games too. You have seen some upside here with Hampus. So kind of like those cheap Navi guys or Amanak, right? Or those cheap Vitality guys. You're not going to feel great, but if NIP wins this one 2-0, he's going to pay off the value for sure. And then lastly, we have EG versus MIBR. So this is where the pricing, again, looks really good in this game, especially on the EG side. This one's almost a coin flip, but if you compare the pricing on these teams, EG looks way better, right? So you have Breeze at 7K and Cirque at 7K. The top two guys, compared to MIBR, the top three guys are all over 8K. Fur's 8K, but 8.4 for KNGV, 8.8 for Fallen. So yeah, cash games, you look to EG for sure here. That just looks way better for the prices. Now, yeah, that's going to make EG a lot more popular in cash games, a lot more popular in tournaments too, because they just look better plays for their prices. But that's not saying MIBR can't win this game. I mean, this one's a coin flip, and the MIBR side is going to be a lot lower owned, right? You have Simple on the slate. You have Zywoo. You have Hunter. You have some high-priced guys that's the way roster construction is going. I haven't messed around with it too much, but just in my mind, right? So a lot of people are going to play Simple. I think Zywoo will get a little bit of ownership. I think, again, Hunter will probably get a lot of ownership. They don't have, enough salary to get some of those MIBR guys in. So I think the MIBR is going to be a lot lower owned. But let's first start with the EG side. I really like Cirque. He's been in amazing form with the op. He's played some of the best Counter-Strike I've seen right now. So I really like him at that price point. I think that's way too cheap. I think he should be about 8,500. So I love Cirque, one of my favorite plays. I think he's one of the better cash game plays for his price. I also have interest in Breeze. These are the top two guys. I like the price on him a lot too. You can look at their numbers. Cirque, 0.71 kills per round, 0.65 deaths per round. Breeze at 0.74 and 0.65. So Breeze does have slightly better numbers. But, recent form, Cirque's been a little bit better. Either way, I like both those guys a lot here. I think both should be pretty high owned in cash games for their prices. Now, a guy like Ethan is right below them at 6.8K. I think he's just a contrarian option. Like, it doesn't make sense to me to play Ethan over Cirque or Breeze. It really doesn't, unless you're trying to get very different in tournaments. Tariq at 6K. Again, if you think EG win this one 2-0, I think that's the way to consider him, and then Stanislaw, the same thing, right? So those bottom two guys have had decent games, right? They can still have decent games. Tariq, Stanislaw, we've seen some good games from them. I think they're viable, cheap options. Again, you're not going to feel great. You got to take a stand, and the value guy you target, like a value 1 or 2 guys, go with the team you're most confident in that you think they win 2-0. I really like Breeze, really like Cirque on the EG side. I think they're two of the better cash game plays for sure, and they're going to be very popular on the slate. On the MIBR side, this is a team that's going to go very low, because again, the pricing just looks so good on the EG side that people are going to go Breeze, people are going to go Cirque, Simple. That's how they're going to start a lot of their lineups. So this side is going to go forgotten about. But I think like an MIBR stack looks really good in GPPs. Again, I mentioned Electronic. He's going to go low owned. I think Zywoo will be a lot lower owned than recent slates. And this MIBR side, they're just going to be low owned. Taco and TRK, well, I would say I'd probably stay away from Taco, but the new addition, TRK, has had some decent games. Right? Kind of like BMS, he's been a little bit more up and down, but he went 82 and 63 against EG, right? 44 and 46 against C9, 20 and 19 against Furia. So I think TRK looks like a pretty decent value play. If that's the route you want to go, that's MIBR side, maybe you play one of those top guys and you need some salary relief. I could see pairing him with TRK. So I do have some interest there in TRK. Taco, I would rather get to TRK, who I think has more upside and is a little bit cheaper. But with Fallen, KNGV, and Fur, all three have pretty similar numbers. Fallen, 0.73, Killstone, 0.60. Desperon, he had a bad game that last game. He wasn't super high on, but I think that will lower his ownership even more. Fur at 0.75 and 0.67, KNGV 0.76 and 0.66. Right, so all three are pretty similar. You got Fur the cheapest at 8K, so I think he's probably going to be the most popular, followed by KNGV, followed by Fallen. Again, I think all three are viable, and this side just in general is going to be low owned for sure. So let's do a quick recap here of how I would attack this slate if I was playing cash games first, and then for GPPs. So for cash games, I think you're going to want to probably start your lineup with Simple. Again, I think Electronic's viable too if you want to go that two-man stack, but definitely I think Simple is cash game play. I think Electronic's viable as well. On the G2 side, it's Hunter for me that really stands out. I think Kenny S would be the next guy. Vitality, obviously it's Zywoo. Everyone else, I don't feel great about. NIP, it's those top two guys in Nog and Plopsky. EG, I think it's Breeze and Cirque and MIBR. I don't really know if these guys are cash game plays for their prices. I think they're more GPP viable. But yeah, like I said, this slate in general is really interesting because all three games are almost coin flips. So you can make an argument for any side. But yeah, for GPPs, what I like doing is I like playing a lot of the chalk, but I like getting different in one or two spots. Unless I feel like really confident about like an underdog in a slate, but there's really no big underdogs in a slate. So it's a really interesting slate for DFS purposes. Yeah, I haven't really messed around too much with roster construction. I think an interesting strategy, again, is maybe you get those top two studs in there. So plug in a Zywoo, plug in a Simple. Maybe you get a couple of those expensive guys. Then you're going to have to take a shot at someone really cheap in the captain spot, which if you played like Bimez in the captain spot today, that paid off, right? I think it probably got you like close to 100 fantasy points. So, I mean, that's always a strategy I bring up. Again, that's not a cash game strategy, but say you take a shot in one of the cheap guys. So maybe a TRK, a Flamey, a Hampus, right? So let's just say, for instance, we plug in TRK into our lineup at captain. That's 8.6K remaining. You can get Zywoo. You can get Simple. You can almost get wherever else you want in your lineup. So that's always a viable build. Again, that's a very contrarian GPP build, but always keep that in the back of your mind if you want to get very different. Again, for cash games, I think you play one of those top guys for sure. Probably Simple or Hunter or Zywoo, Plopsky, right? Those are Cirque. Those are the guys I would consider for like a cash game format for a captain. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for the video today, guys. If you have been enjoying the content so far, I'd really appreciate it if you like this video. Subscribe if you haven't already and hit the notification bell. Again, hitting the notification bell does really help me out to continue to grow this channel. If you guys are interested in Call of Duty content, again, I uploaded my video about an hour ago for that. I'm really excited for Call of Duty. I had a great weekend last weekend, so if you guys are interested in that, I already have a video up for that. But thanks again, guys. Hope you all have a good night. I will see you guys all in the next video.